Thank you for coming. As you know, you're here to hear Man Mel. Mel Toner is the co-owner and president of Gold Crest Distributing and Software Essential. And today you're going to learn his expert tips on merchandising and everything you need to know about selling the best in birding.
Very good.
Yes. So thank you. Please join me in welcoming Mel.
Good morning. I'm humbled as I look across. I'm loud there. Yeah. Where'd that technical guy go? I don't know how to do this. Anybody else know how to turn one of these things? Is that better? Okay. As I look across the crowd, I see several folks. Eric, Rick, you guys, I think, can stand up here and do this as well as myself. I see some new faces. And that was our goal at the market, was to, one, hopefully provide some information to young and old alike. Any industry needs new blood, new folks, new retailers, new vendors to be successful, and birding is no exception. I titled my talk today, Backyard Nature, Birds, Butterflies, and More, a Natural Way to Grow Your Business. Natural green, those industries, of course, are strong, some of the strongest with us. And what we're going to try to do just have a set of 3 goals, and my goals are to determine what products fit your store. And those of you that are in the birding business a long time got a very good feel on this. How to merchandise for best sales, and then how to draw people in. And even if you've been in the business a long time, my goal is to have you go home with something, I hope and pray, that will help your business. This isn't going to be a commercial for my companies by any means. I may refer to something now and then. If you would happen to take that idea and buy stuff from somebody else, you know, all the birds in your market will die. But let your conscience be your guide. I use that joke a lot, and some guy yesterday said that somebody in Arkansas made me mad. That was tragic. I didn't like that. We're going to share some keys to success on these topics or more. We'll talk about that key there again in the middle. You know, what's included? Well, birds is 80% of it. As most of us analyze the market data that's out there, birding products is 80%. It's not everything, though. In fact, that's why down on the bottom right, I have a squirrel lover sign there. It is for everybody. It's 65 to 70 million people. I did this slide about 2.5 years ago, and at that time, it had snuck ahead of gardening as the #1. It was a slight period of time where the data showing birding was ahead of gardening. With the surge in the last 2 years of grow your own food, healthy food, whatever, we have stepped back to second again. It is a very wide variety of people, men, women, families, young and old. The demographics do favor old. The aging of America helps birding. As we get older, we'll talk about as we go through, we tend not to tromp around the woods and hunt and fish, and even the ability to go see birds out in the wild isn't as easy for us. And we tend to cocoon and do things around home. I had this slide from a couple of years ago where the Nursery Retailer magazine said, you know, the 90s brought people back to earth, their homes, their yards, and concern for air, wildlife, evaluate where they spend their money, what they're doing. That's become more important to people, and I think that even got reinforced the last 2 years when some of us couldn't travel like we used to. So we tended to have, you know, I heard the word show up in the press a lot, staycation. We tended to vacation in our own yards, and birding certainly fits and goes right into that. It's a $29 billion market. The market had wanted me to, the general American Smart wanted me to share some of this data. It had been growing at 11% per year up until the last 2 years. Like everything else, it was tough. It slowed. There's quite a few of us grew right through the tough years. So I haven't been able to collect data points for the industry as a whole. But I know we've been very blessed as a company. We grew, although not near as much as we used to. It wasn't 11% the last couple of years. But there has been certain spots that have been able to continue to grow. Back 2 years ago, last time I had data, feeding feeders is a $3 billion opportunity. And my wife always said, and I use this slide, you know, how many bird feeders does the average person have? She said, Mel, we're going to be obsolete. People are going to quit. I mean, how much of this stuff do they need? Well, the reality is, I mean, over half the market has 3 or more feeders. And I compare it to, are any guys fishermen? You got any fishermen at all in the crowd? If you send a fisherman in the Bass Pro, I mean, you always come out with another fishing lure. It doesn't matter how many you got in the fishing box. You're always looking for another lure to get that big fish, that new fish. Bird feeding is the same way. There are now more and more feeders that are specific feeders for specific birds, and getting that that guy that buy that feeder is what we see. And the other part is book binoculars, gifts, all those things. It's a huge, huge industry. Do realize it's not just about seed, feeders, and feed. It's about gifts. And I'm becoming more and more convinced of this every day. It broadens the number of people that can come into your store. It broadens the amount of things they'll buy. What do they buy? Well, anybody that happens to come into the store for bird seed, the data shows that within a year, 22% of those folks are going to buy a birdhouse, 25 a bird bath, over a fourth are going to buy a bird feeder, binoculars, field guides. So, you know, it is across the board the type of things that they're going to purchase within a given year. This is not a one-time thing. This data was at over several years as far as, so people tend to continue to purchase products. A lot of folks will ask, well, do they feed birds in my part of the world? How many people are from the South Atlantic region here? Okay. How about the upper Northeast? Okay, Midwest? Okay, a lot of you in the Midwest. And then West Coast? Okay. And even it's a challenge. You would think California would be Mr. Green of bird feeding. It's one of the areas that has the least percent, but anywhere in the country, over a third of the people feed the birds. So you can feel good about that wherever you're at. And it's growing, at least at the last data points I had in 2000 across the country. A lot of folks think, well, it's a winter business. I show this slide up there that it is, those of you that are in the business know that it's very year-round as far as the percentage of seed that's sold in sales by quarter. There's not a lot of difference between quarters. So don't quit promoting things in the spring. I know some of our lawn and garden customers or other shops that aren't in birding all the time think, well, I just do it when I'm not busy from October to March. Well, you're missing one of the best seasons, April through May, June. That's when the birds have already eaten all the seed that the good Lord has put out there for them during the wintertime. If you've got an open winter, migrants come through, so it's like company comes, and then babies are born, and that's actually when they need your help more than any other time. And you'll see just neat things like the male-female giving the female a sunflower seed. And, you know, my wife says, well, you'll do that until he gets what he wants. And she's right. Downy woodpeckers bringing their babies to eat, so that sort of thing. So it is a year-round business. But the theme of the day is it's not just birding. It's also butterflies, toads, ladybugs, dragonflies, squirrels, bumble and honeybees, deer, and more. It's all those things that people may or may not want in their backyards. And sometimes it's not, in the case of deer or squirrels once in a while, or javelinas, I think, down your way, Eric? Okay. So it is different. Out west, in the northwest, I'm learning that, you know, it's bad, but rats are a major problem. So something like a seed hoop in that part of the world is a very big thing, but they want to keep the seed off the ground. But squirrels, I want to make sure you understand these guys are your friends. And the reason why, people either love them or hate them, but either way they spend a lot of money on them. How many people here love squirrels? Okay, so you're the kind of guys that want to let them have some fun. Let them bounce on the bungee cord, teeter totter. I mean, we got all kinds of fun things now, you know, for the squirrel people. So, you know, that's a big, big market. How many people don't particularly like those birds? Okay, we got those guys. Well, you're the kind of guys that, you know, the squirrel buster from Rome, the squirrel, the Yankee flipper, the squirrel baffles, those are the things you need. And you got a lot of customers that want that. I do see this category this next year becoming more and more important because unfortunately it looks like we're going to have one of those years where we're going to have if you haven't gotten your recent seed bill, seed is going through the roof. It looks like that trend line is going to continue this year. So I think, I know my own marketing plans, I'm going to be spending more time emphasizing save your bird seed for the birds and promoting the squirrel-proof side of the business this year more than ever, okay? You know, what type of businesses should sell wild bird and backyard specialty products? I have wild bird specialty, and I see many of you in the audience, and bless you. You're our core customer that have built us over the years. But here at the market, we have hardware, tourist business, pet, lawn and garden, not-for-profit, feed, farm, and home gift. A lot of those different things, I think, have a potential. Just curious, who here is in the backyard birding specialty business? Will you raise your hand? Okay. Who is in hardware? We got any hardware people? Okay. How about tourists? Okay. Tourist market. Pet? You got any pet stores here? Okay. Lawn and garden? Not for profit? Okay. Feed, farm, and home? pure gift stores. Okay, that gives me a good feel, thanks. If you didn't see the crowd, we had 5 to 6 hands on almost everything. So that is exciting to me because I think that's important for the industry. I think it's important for you that you're reaching out and looking at different categories. 4 out of 10 people that walk through your door feed the birdies. If you check, you ran that data through your head. So I say all of them, potentially. I am very big. Many people will call me up and say, Mel, what should I add? What should I stock? And I don't know if you can read the print on there very well. I have some up on the front table. I didn't give them to everyone. I'm very big on doing a market analysis sheet. I met with a couple here that's going to be changing, going to a new store. And I think it's very important you go through the exercise of what do we do good? I mean, before you get into birding, what are we doing good now? What kind of customers do we attract? How are we good at communicating? Does it fit the ways that we're going to talk about that you have to communicate with birds? The other thing is what's going on in the market? What does the market need? We run one retail concept birding store in Columbia, Missouri, about 3300 Street. And we found in that market amazingly unique dog toys. I mean, here I am talking birds, but as you look at your total business, it's finding what's not there. That high-end custom furniture, as far as patio furniture, was a niche people left. We just throw it on the parking lot this spring, every spring. But Mel really likes the $40,000 worth of sales we get out of that. Okay, so same approach to birding. Make sure you understand what's out there now. Make sure you understand what your market needs. And look for those niches that they don't have. I'm also very, very big on, folks, it's very tough to win the war against Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart. Work vigorously to find the products that aren't in those spots and not only stock, but vigorously support the manufacturers that support you that way. I'm very big on that. Our own brand name, Songbird Essentials, we're committed to that strategy. And most of the things you see on the example of the pinball I brought here, the companies on there are the same way, which is true with 90-some% of what we stock as a company. But regardless of where you get it, I'm convinced of that. You know, so what you want to do is figure out, you know, what percent of functional items, houses, feeders, bats you want, what percent of seed, what percent of gift items, what percent of books, what percent of optics, sound, whatever. And it differs by store. And again, it goes back to, you know, if I'm doing a selection, we'll see slides here in a second for a Hallmark store. It's a little bit different selection of products that we put, but it happened to be in a town that just couldn't support a bird specialty store, really wasn't even large enough to support a lawn and garden center. But these folks came to us, and it was a total different mix for that type of store than it would be. It just depends on what comes out on that sheet you do. It really boils down to your analysis of that sheet. I am very, very sold, and get more sold every day, that you should merchandise by the bird and category. We trademarked 3 years ago the word specific bird selling, and more people are jumping on that bandwagon. Grouping birds, some of the categories we call are bluebirds, clingers, hummingbirds, orioles, goldfinch, cardinals. People want to attract, and in the West it's different birds. Now I'll actually show a postcard here in a second about make sure your marketing activities have the right kind of birds for your market. And we do custom signs for the West. But they do want certain kind of birds, and it does pay to do it. And you know, each bird has a favorite food, a preferred restaurant, specific foods and feeders. You'll sell more seed along with the feed when you group them together. For you folks that are in the gift market, for a long time I really hesitated to promote seed because it's all about turns, and it tends to be a volume business, and bugs can be an issue. There are folks now, and I really like the folks not far from here, Coles. They nitrogen flush their seed now. They're sealed bags. It stays fresh. There's no bugs. That gives you a chance to stock a product that I feel really good about recommending. And many, many times then when they buy grandma or mom a gift, you'll let the seed go out the door with the feeder. And a decent amount of time, particularly if you think about giving a coupon on the next purchase of seed, you'll get the person that receives that gift to bring it back. Now, if you're a tourist, that's a different thing. But do keep that in mind. I'm a big believer in that. One of my favorites is they have a product called Hot Meats that you put, they have the pepper and stuff on the seed, encapsulated around it. So it lets us have a squirrel-proof thing, and hoppers and things that aren't normally a type of feeder that you can keep squirrels out of. I didn't mean that as an over commercial for them, but it's just really neat. And there are a couple other companies out there too I'm not so familiar with, but the key is having guaranteed bug-proof seed in small packages so that in a gift situation you don't have to worry about bugs. Okay, the other categories that we subdivide, we find it's effective to sell products for butterflies, water, squirrel lovers, bird bass, squirrel resistant. as far as other categories.